This video will describe and demonstrate how to filter the side tone from the K40 CW keyboard keyer. There's a circuit on the circuit board where you can draw out a wire to an RCA jack on the back of the K1EL. For mine, I'm using the AFSK RCA jack. This side tone is very harsh and has lots of overtones and a very tough square wave. So we're going to filter it using two pieces of software. First of all, we need an ASIO sound card so that we can monitor the filtered side tone in near zero latency. I'm using a Behringer UCA222. From Amazon, this sound card is only $30. And you have to download the ASIO driver. Which is right here. I have 64-bit Windows 7 system, so this is the one I downloaded. So download and follow the instructions. Once you've accomplished that and everything's working and your sound card has audio on it, what we're going to do is we're going to take the audio out from the K1EL keyer to the line-in jack of this Behringer, which is right here in this input. And on the other side we have phones, has its own volume control. You can also send it to speakers with these RCA jacks. It has a real-time monitor right here, but because the harshness and square wave harmonics of the K1EL side tone, we're not going to use this, since we want to send a sine wave like CW tone on ICW. So in order to do this, we need to be able to take this sound card from the line in, filter it with a free piece of software, and then send it over to Mumble. On the Mumble input, we're going to use stereomix from the I'm using a laptop, so from my own laptop sound card, I'm going to use the stereomix. So I'm going to send audio from the Behringer to the REALTEK sound card. Mumble input is going to listen via the stereomix to anything that is being played on the laptop REALTEK sound card. However, on the Mumble output, you must have a separate sound card or you're going to get auto feedback. So everything you play on Mumble will come back to the input of Mumble, and then you get a vicious cycle and some feedback. So we're using two sound cards. I'm using the Behringer for the output and the laptop native sound card stereomix for the input. So let me show you to make sure that you're able to get stereomix on Windows 7. So right click on the speaker and just click recording devices, and this is what you'll get. Right click on the screen anywhere and make sure that both of these are checked. Show disconnected devices and show disabled devices. Then scroll around and see if you have stereomix. You don't have to select this as the default, but you may want to go ahead and highlight it, click on properties, and change the sample rate format to 48K, 48,000 Hertz, since that is the sample rate of Mumble. So we'll do that there. And on the playback for the REALTEK, do the same thing, and also for the Behringer. So on the playback tab of the Windows Mixer, click Properties, Advanced, and make sure that you click 48K. This will prevent Sometimes you get some audio dropouts and sample rate conversion problems if you have varying sample rates from 44-100 to 48K for the mumble input. It might make a difference, and you may or may not have to do this, but that's what I'm doing, and it seems to work pretty good. And also on the Behringer line in, select properties, advanced, and I'm using 48K. You can leave everything else the same, click apply and OK. So if you have stereo mix, this method will work for you. If you don't, there's an optional method which will be in a follow-up video using virtual audio cables instead of stereo mix. One way or the other, you have to use two separate sound cards. One sound card is strictly for the input. The second sound card for mumble output is only for mumble output. So one card for the mumble input, another separate card for the mumble output. That prevents the output from getting back into the input and causing a feedback loop, which will wreak havoc on the server and anybody else that's listening. So once you've set that up, now we're going to demonstrate the software that's going to take the line in of the Behringer, send it to the Behringer output, but in between all that we're going to filter it with this engineer's filter, which is a BESSEL filter. If you set it up this way, my frequency of the sidetone is 672, so you have to determine what yours is. It doesn't have to be exact, but on some applications that I had, a guitar tuner application, it said it was 672, so that's what I set as the center frequency for this filter. There are other filters to choose, but I found that the BESSEL is the best for filtering CW. I keep the bandwidth at 1, and I have the order at 5. Then you can save it. Then when you want to load it again, I have it as a K1EL. You just load it, you don't have to mess with it again. It'll just immediately go to these previous settings that you saved. So here's basically what's happening. The K1EL sidetone is going to come into the Behringer line input and go directly to this filter. After the filter, I've got another application on here that will vary the volume as I monitor it. I guess we're going to this one here since this is the one we're using to monitor the sidetone. In low latency, you will not be able to tell the difference. I think it's 20 milliseconds or less, and that is considered a good enough or even excellent for pro audio musicians that play software instruments or use their instruments in software filtering in real time during performances. So if it's 25, 30 milliseconds or less, they consider that perfect for performing. And the same applies for sending Morse code with a paddle. That is the reason we need an ASIO sound card. This is only achievable on Windows using ASIO. The best I could use when using the WAS API or kernel drivers was about 65 to 80 milliseconds. I was able to adapt, but it's not ideal. So, thus the reason for choosing a very cheap sound card that has an ASIO driver. And this is a pretty good reputation for not a bad sound card. Even some pro musicians are using this UCA 222. So again, the sidetone audio from the K1EL output actually goes through about 20 decibels of attenuation using a 50 ohm step attenuator filter. Then it comes in to the RCA jacks of the Behringer, then through this meter here that allows me to control how much volume gets to the engineer's filter and to the output so I can hear it. So let me demonstrate this. And I'll take the filter out so you can hear what it sounds like without it. We'll bypass it. So it's very harsh. It's not that pleasant to listen to during a QSO. So this And these meters are already in this program called pedal board too. And I'll go over how to put that in just a second, how to get this installed. It's very nice software. The only one you have to get is the engineer's filter. Everything else, the level and the VU meter, are already with the pedal board. We're using two instances of pedal board, one just for the Behringer to Behringer. So using options and audio settings, we're using the ASIO driver, not direct sound or the Windows Audio Session API, but using an ASIO driver, the Behringer, and you'll want it, once you get that loaded up, the first thing you'll need to do is give it a little test button, make sure everything's hooked up. Once you've got the wiring, you just left click and hold and then pull the wire over here. So I'll demonstrate that. Let me get rid of this for a second. We'll do this, delete it. So you left click, hold, and pull it over. It automatically attaches. So options, audio settings. We have the ASIO, we have the Behringer. Let's test it. So we know it's working. All the wire, once you've got all the wiring set up to go from the input to the output through this filter, give it a test. Now you'll also want to see, yours will probably be standard at 256, but you get lower latency almost by half if you can do this one thing. Show the control panel, select 48K 16-bit. It may be at 41, so click 48. If you are also put your sound cards at 48. If you left your sound cards at 44.1, then try it that way and see how it works. Otherwise, you'll have to reset both sound cards, the Behringer and your native sound card on your computer, to 48K. Okay, then go to the ASIO tab. You can leave this as it is, but it'll come as normal, and I clicked one up fast, and the priority I clicked as high. And you hit close. You may have to restart the program once you change this, and then double check it to make sure that it's stuck. Now, I was not able to use rapid or high speed. It just didn't work on my computer. It may work on yours, but on my laptop it didn't work, and I'm using it. I have an i7 Samsung laptop here. It's a pretty good laptop. I'm pretty happy with it for its performance, and it's a quad core. Alright, so once you've got that, we'll test it again. Okay, everything's still working. We have 128 samples now. Before, on normal, it would have been 256. So now that's about as fast as you can get it. Now I'm going to talk about the other one. So, with this program, you're also, even though you're using the ASIO driver, I found that you can also use the Windows Audio Session. This is the WAS API for Windows 7 and Vista. If you don't have this, then that means you're using Windows XP or something earlier than 7, and you only have direct sound. You can try it that way, but it may not work as well. But you'll have to test the buffers. It'll be different than what you see here. So again, we're using the input from the Behringer, only this time we're going to send it to the laptop REALTEK sound card. So I have the sound card muted right here, so that I don't hear both the sound card on the laptop and the Behringer, because I'm going to monitor this to the Behringer, but since it's also going to go to the laptop sound card, but also sound there too, only with a very, very, very slight delay. So you don't need it, so you can mute it. And then you'll just hear what you hear in the Behringer, and that's where Mumble is playing, is to the Behringer. So you're going to hear your sidetone on the Behringer and Mumble output on the Behringer, but the Mumble input will be the REALTEK. In my case, on your case, it'll be whatever your computer sound card is. So we have the input as the line in for the Behringer, and the output is just the sound card. And we can test it again. And if I had it unmuted, let's see if I can. So it's working. Mute it back. Okay. So and this comes again with sample rates 48. That's just the standard, since I have all my sound card from the Windows 7 mixer set to 48K. It comes default at 480. That's actually what I found that Mumble uses when it uses its own ASIO, universal ASIO driver. I've noticed that it uses 480 samples, so I just left it there and it seems like it works okay. You have the ability to go up and down if you hear audio crackles or pops and clicks. But start here and see how it goes. So the VU meters are attached to both sound cards. So we're taking the line in, going straight to the Behringer. We're getting action, and we're taking the same line in, only this time going to the REALTEK HD audio output. And as you see on Mumble, if you go to settings, you see that the meter is doing fine. So I'm going to lay down some, and we're going to adjust the volume right here. So you want the volume on Mumble to be right about there. And if you look on this meter here, let me stretch this out a little bit. It's just below 12 dB. It's Optimum right about there. That's just below where Mumble starts to activate its own AG circuit, which will distort the CW. So we don't need this big meter anymore. So that's basically the setup. Let's do a loopback test and see how fast it is. So that's going from St. Louis to California and back to St. Louis. That's good enough. I've left that off of exclusive, and it seems like that's good enough. So we're in WAS API shared mode at the moment. Okay, so let's take it out of loopback. Okay, now let's show you where to get the pedal board and the engineer's filter. Here's the Behringer again at Amazon. It's only 30 bucks. All these links will be in the show notes on the video underneath the comments there. So the pedal board is what they call a VST host, and the engineer's filter is a VST plugin. This is a free VST host. There's the link. Again, look in your show notes there. You download for Windows and do the same thing for here. So what you do, wherever the file is, all you have to do is I'm not sure if it was a zip or not. Yeah, it's a zip. So you have to unzip it. Once you unzip it, then it's just a folder. So you bring up the folder, and let's see, desktop, and I'll show you what that looks like. Here's pedal board. So here's the folder, bring it up, and there's the action here. So you just double click that. Options, audio settings, that's the first thing you change. Now when you have two of these, it'll whatever the last one is you close, that's the one it'll save. I don't know how to save two different instances of pedal board with their own INI file. If you do, maybe you could help us out and leave some comments in the video. Let us know how to do that and try it out. So let's go ahead and pretend we're starting from scratch here. So once you've downloaded that, let's also go and get the engineer's filter. So go to that site, download the engineer's filter. Again, that's going to be a zip file, so unzip it, and wherever the folder is, we're going to tell pedal board where to get it, because you have to load it first. So we'll do that. So go to Options, Plugin List, go to Options, Scan for New Plugin, and we're going to click the plus button, and I have my engineer's filter on the desktop, and you click down to the engineer's filter, click it once, and you'll see another engineer folder. Just click that one there and click OK, and then click Scan. And now we should have it. Double click anywhere in the open and click Engineer's Filter. And click E, open the plugin editor. And I've already saved it once, so then you click Load, load the K1EL. So that's pretty much where I like to have it anyway, so that one's good to go. Now there's little indentations here on the left and right. Let's set up the sound card. So we're going to use ASIO, for instance. And the device would be the Behringer. And again, the sample rate would be 4800. And now we'll test it. Okay, we're still good. And I've already done this, but I'm just showing you how to do it. So now we've got that. So that's where the output and the input's going to be. And I'm bring the audio output, grab it, bring it over. So we're going to left click on that little indentation, draw the wire over. Draw the wire over the two channels left and right. Same thing for here, take it to the output and take it to the output. So then you should get some action. Double click and you can take the VU meter just to make sure you're getting some action. So you see we've got action there. Both channels are active, and you hit the X to get rid of it. Double click and hit the level, and you highlight and hit delete, highlight, hit delete, stick that in between them, bring it over, just draw the wires over and it automatically attaches. So now we have a level meter. And this is when you hit the E, it's just a bigger one. Okay, so that's for the Behringer. So now we are able to monitor the input of the Behringer in real time in near zero latency. It's less than 20 milliseconds. It may be about 10 actually, the last time I measured it. So then if we wanted, then you bring up a second instance of pedal board, so just go over the pedal board and double click it again. And again, because of the last one I saved, it brings up that one. So I don't need ASIO, so I'm going to use Windows Audio Session. We're going to put the same input, only this time we're using the REALTEK speakers. Okay, so click that. Double click the Engineer's Filter. Double click, put the level here, draw your wires. Draw the wires. And then take it over to the output. Now it's going to play on the laptop sound card as soon as those wires are drawn. Then we'll click this, and then we want to get the VU meter just to verify there's a visual feedback, that there's sound getting through there. So there it is. And I'll go ahead and close this out. So let me do the meter again here for that one. Draw the wires, and you can just left click and it'll let you draw as many wires as you want. So we have action on the Behringer to Behringer and Behringer to the REALTEK. So that's how you set that up. Then you're good to go. Then you just have to go to the Mumble out like we did before. Go to the Mumble and adjust the Mumble volume. These volumes are independent. This will be the volume to your own sound card, whichever one this is, and the other one will be the volume that goes to the Mumble input. So adjusting this will only adjust the Mumble input, and this will adjust what you hear. So you can vary the sidetone. And you can vary these differently too if you wanted to. And increase the order, increase the bandwidth, change the filter a little bit if you want to mess with it. But this seems to be one of the easiest ways to monitor your own sidetone through the line-in jack from the K1EL in real time in near zero latency when you're trying to send Morse code over the internet on ICW. Thanks for watching.